Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. The NC State Wolfpack come in at number 7 in our way too early top 25. And many may think that 7th in the country is way too high for a team that went just 9-3 last year. But I'm here to tell you why you're wrong. I'm here to tell you why I believe this is Dave Doeren's best team yet that he has ever had with the Wolfpack. This team is absolutely loaded. And they have the schedule not just to get to the ACC championship game, but they have the schedule to maybe even be a college football playoff dark horse. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Again, ready to break down NC State's schedule and give you a brief outlook for this 2022 season. Before we get started, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. Again, those simple things that you can do by hitting that like button, subscribing to us, becoming a part of our Gridiron Expert team. Those things help build our channel up more than you know. So take a few seconds to do that and become a part of the GE Nation so we can continue to bring you college football content year round. So we take a look at the Wolfpack, guys, out of the ACC. Again, a team that went 9-3 last year. Those 3 losses coming by a combined 18 points. So an average of 6 points per game. A 14-point loss to Mississippi State, a 1-point loss to Miami, and a 3-point loss to Wake Forest in a game that was huge in determining who would win the ACC Atlantic. Dave Doeren now brings back tons of returning production, none bigger than their quarterback in Devin Leary, who threw for over 3,400 yards and 35 touchdowns last year. 14 of the top 15 tacklers are expected to return from on the defense. And yes, they do lose their big-time offensive tackle in Ikem Iwanu. They lose their running backs in Zonovan Knight and Ricky Person. And they lose one of their top wide receivers, Emeka Emezi. That's okay. The defense is once again loaded. They're going to carry this team. When you've got a capable quarterback in Devin Leary, I expect the Wolfpack to be just fine on the offensive side of the ball. And when you take a look at their schedule, you begin to realize that a team like NC State that should start for us in the top 10, but maybe in the AP top 15, could very well start the year at maybe 4-0 before they go on the road to Clemson. And again, we're not here to predict any games today, but you look at that. A road game at East Carolina to kick off the year, Charleston Southern, and then Texas Tech and UConn to wrap up the month of September. Texas Tech is the toughest game, I think, out of all 4 of those. And that's not going to be a pushover, but the Wolfpack get to host that game. They get to have home field advantage in that game. Texas Tech going through a new coach right now with Joey McGuire, so might go through a few growing pains, especially early on in week 3. I don't know if Tech's going to be ready to come on the road to take on and beat a potential top 10 opponent. So again, not here to predict anything, but I think anything less than 4-0 for NC State would be viewed as a disappointment among Wolfpack fans. Once you get into ACC play, that's where things get interesting. That's where the season will be defined. And that's not even the key stretch for us right now, but that road game at Clemson is huge because the top 3 contenders in the ACC Atlantic right now are Clemson, NC State, and Wake Forest. So how those teams fare against one another will strongly dictate who wins the division, and that was what happened last year. You know, NC State beat Clemson last year. They got to host the Tigers, beat them 27-21 in double overtime, and that game ultimately kicked Clemson out of the college football playoff race before September was even over. So the Wolfpack won that game. They now have to go on to Death Valley. But if you remember last year, Clemson beat Wake Forest, and Wake Forest beat NC State. All those things kind of meshed together, and Wake Forest ended up winning the ACC Atlantic Division. So how those 3 teams fare against one another, to me, that will dictate who wins the division and who makes the ACC championship game. That's why October 1st is so huge for the Wolfpack. This is another great opportunity to take down Clemson, a Clemson team that has already been announced in our top 10, a team that we believe is going to be in the top 10 to start the year, has a lot of talent, again, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and now a team that gets to host the Wolfpack with revenge on their mind in Death Valley. It's not going to be easy for Dave Doeren and his squad. Not even close. But they have the talent to upset the Tigers, and we've seen them give the Tigers some battles before, even in Death Valley. If NC State wins this game, not only, or in my eyes, are they a top 5 team, but they will become the favorite to win the entire ACC. They then come back home and take on Florida State. They defeated the Seminoles by 14 last year, 28-14. They go on the road to take on Syracuse after that. They beat the Orange 41-17 last year. Those 2 games right there before the bye week don't concern me too much for NC State. Again, we're not predicting any games here, but the Wolfpack are without a doubt the better of the 2 teams. And if I'm NC State, I'm more happy that the road game's at Syracuse than Florida State. I think Florida State's slowly showing some improvement under Mike Norvell. They're getting there. And Tallahassee can be a difficult place to play, so I'd much rather get to host the Seminoles and go to Syracuse in the Carrier Dome than have it be the other way around. Once again, that schedule benefits NC State big time. They get their bye week before taking on Virginia Tech out of the Coastal. Did they not play last year? They did not face each other last year. But Virginia Tech, guys, is a team that's going through a new coach right now in Brent Pry. NC State gets a week of rest before that, get the game at home. Once again, benefiting the Wolfpack here. The big key stretch for Dave Doeren and his squad, whether or not NC State can win the ACC, whether or not they can get to the college football playoff, something like that, it comes in the entire month of November, where they have 2 home games against Wake Forest and Boston College, and then they close the year out with back-to-back road games at Louisville and at North Carolina. The Wake Forest game, without a doubt, is the biggest game in that 4-game stretch. Because like we mentioned, the 3 contenders, Clemson, NC State, and Wake Forest, how they fare against one another will determine who wins the Atlantic. Last year, NC State lost to Wake Forest 45-42. But that game was in Winston-Salem. So, NC State will get to host this game in a great quarterback battle between Wake Forest Sam Hartman and, of course, NC State's Devin Leary. A game that should be very high scoring, just like it was last year. Again, 45-42. And with home field advantage, if NC State can win this game over the Demon Deacons, and if they have beaten Clemson at this point, they practically have the conference on lock. They practically have the division on lock. So that Wake Forest game is going to be huge, especially if NC State comes into this game at undefeated or even just one loss. Because even if the one loss is to Clemson on the road, they need to beat Wake Forest to keep their title hopes alive. So that Wake Forest game is huge. It's going to be extremely tough, just like it was last year. They played Boston College. They crushed the Eagles last year, 33-7. The Eagles went through so many injuries last year, COVID issues, the likes. Phil Jurkovec should be back fully healthy, and another great quarterback battle between Jurkovec and Devin Leary. But again, the Wolfpack holding that game at home is going to be senior night for them as well. They go on the road to take on Louisville, a team that should have another pretty decent offense under Scott Satterfield, and what appears to be a make-or-break year for him with the Cardinals. The Wolfpack won that game by 15 last year, 28-13. Cannot afford to overlook that game, not just because it's a road game and maybe it's Louisville. Can't afford to overlook it also because of the road game next week against their rival in North Carolina. Again, if NC State at this point is a one-loss team or an undefeated team with 2 weeks left in the year, yes, they're playoff contenders, and yes, they're practically going to go to the ACC championship game. They cannot afford to slip up to one of those 2 road games at the end of the year, because if they do, their playoff hopes are done. No doubt about it. Louisville, in the second to last game, at North Carolina, a team they beat 34-30 in a wild comeback. Weren't supposed to win that game, found a way to get it done, beat the Tar Heels by 4, finished the year at 9-3. UNC, a very disappointing team last year. They now lose their star quarterback in Sam Howell and might be going through a slight, not rebuild, but some growing pains with Mac Brown after the loss of so much talent from last year. And last year wasn't even that good for the Tar Heels. All in all, guys, you get the gist here. You look at the talent that NC State has coming back. You look at the schedule that they have. That month of November is the biggest stretch for them, and it's not even that bad. The 2 biggest games and the 2 toughest games on their schedule will be the road game at Clemson on October 1st and the home game against Wake Forest on November 5th, about a month apart. Those 2 games at the beginning of October and the beginning of November will dictate NC State's season. Whether this can be the very special year that Wolfpack fans have been waiting for, or whether they're going to fall just short of an ACC championship again, maybe finish with 9 or 10 wins, which is great, but it's not where they want to be. Dave Doeren can get this squad to where they want to be, and 2022 can be a very, very special year. This team is worthy of a top 10 ranking, and I expect them to remain in the top 10 for a very, very long time. Do not sleep on the Wolfpack in 2022. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. Again, we want you to join our Gridiron Expert team. We want you to become a part of this Gridiron Expert Nation so we can continue to bring you college football content year-round. So make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, help us out. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.